Revelation 6:11. And white robes were given unto every one of them. And it was said unto them, that they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants also and their brethren, that should be killed as they were, should be fulfilled.
White robes were given unto every one of them. This Greek word robes is not the same as garments, they are specifically long garments, best robes, robes of honor such as stately robes that sweep on the ground. It was said unto them, that they should rest yet for a little season. This rest is for refreshment and rejuvenation for a little season before he avenges them. The Greek words little season has been used by Yeshua to refer to the time of Yeshua's earthly ministry 0 to 3.5 years. Until their fellow servants also and their brethren. Fellow servants comes from two Greek words together, and slave. The Greek word for servant is diakonos, which means voluntarily serving another. Sometimes this word is also translated minister or deacon. The Greek word for slave is doulos, which means to be in bondage to another because of either being purchased or indebted to. The correct translated word is fellow slaves. The Greek word brethren is first used in the Septuagint, denoting that one comes from the same womb as another. The word is also used to describe people from the same tribe, Israelites. When Yeshua refers to his brethren, he refers to those who do the will of God. Therefore, fellow slaves, indebted to Yeshua, who are brothers, who hear and do the will of God, should be killed as they were. Their fellow slaves, who are doing the will of God, their brothers, are about to be killed, martyred, like they were, should be fulfilled. This can also be translated should be satisfied, completed, as if a set number of martyrs is needed to be reached before the sixth seal period starts. The declaration of the vengeance comes at the seventh seal.
Revelation 6:12. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and, lo, there was a great earthquake. And the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. Sixth seal. I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal. Yeshua opened the sixth of the seven seals. The opening of the seals doesn't release the plan of God, but reveals the plan of God to mankind. Lo, there was a great earthquake, great, large in size earthquake. Earthquakes are generally a declaration that God's judgment is about to come on the wicked, a forewarning. Similar to those who rebelled against Moses and the earth swallowed them up. The great earthquake is also a sign of a great judgment coming on the world. The sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. Sackcloth is a coarse cloth commonly, but not always, made from goat's hair, mohair. It was used for sacks and also for strainers. It was used as a garment to humble oneself, to mourn like a garment of hair for shaming. The sun became black as if it was humbled like a garment of sackcloth, and the moon became as blood. This is a fulfillment of activity that comes to pass before Yeshua comes in the clouds to lighten up the skies. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before that great and notable day of the Lord come. Side note, where the carcass is, the eagles will be gathered. The carcass is Israel, which was been dead because they rejected Christ. The eagles are in reference to Roman or Catholics who are ready to eat up the carcass. Israel, Esdras, vision of the eagle. The carcass will be ministered to as the 144,000 Israelites and 2 witnesses share the gospel for the next 1260 days. This is the first half of Daniel's 70th week. Revelation 6:13. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. The stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. These stars of heaven will be the fallen angels that Michael will kick out of heaven with the dragon, Satan. These are some of the same angels who defected earlier and followed Satan. This means greater trouble for the world because the devil has come down with great wrath and he knows he has a short time left. Based on the context of this passage, referenced by Yeshua, these will look like luminary stars that will suddenly fall like a fig tree which casts off her non-mature figs by a strong wind. It looks more like a meteor shower of lights falling. They will not be actual stars but angels. The actual stars will be mentioned later during the 7th seal, when a third of the stars will not shine to symbolize the angels who defected. Revelation 6:14. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together. Other references to the word departed mean separated, left. The heaven departed from earth as a scroll when it is rolled together. This is the fulfillment of the start of judgment. Heaven is also dwelling on earth through the believers as they are citizens of heaven. When the trumpet of God is sounded, Yeshua will descend from heaven to the clouds. Yeshua will send his angels to gather those believers in heaven to meet Yeshua in the clouds. They will be the first to get their immortal bodies. Then those believers who are on earth, who are worthy, will get immortal bodies. They will probably wander the streets like those saints who were resurrected just after Yeshua's resurrection. They too will then be escorted by angels to meet Yeshua in the clouds. This is known as the rapture of the church. Similar to Lot and his family being escorted out of Sodom by the angels before destruction came. Yeshua is delivering them from the wrath that is coming on the earth, before the 7-year tribulation begins. Moments later, they are seen in heaven worshipping God. Believers in Yeshua are the lights in this world, so when they go up it will look like a scroll rolling up to meet Yeshua in the clouds. This is what it looked like to John. Side note, this last trumpet of God is God's final warning before he brings judgment on the world. Similar to the trumpet which sounded at Mount Sinai, which did not bring judgment but a warning. It is possible that this last trumpet is sounded by God himself, as it is referred to as the trumpet of God. Possibly blown at the same time as the final, last, trumpet at Rosh Hashanah to start the 7-year world tribulation period. Therefore, it is not the same as the 7 trumpets of judgment that bring down the judgments of God. Side note 2, there is a difference between the Great Tribulation period on believers and the wrath of God on the world. The Great Tribulation period is on believers by the world, which is from Yeshua's resurrection until the rapture. The wrath of God on the world is poured out onto the world during the 7th seal. Side note 3, how will the kings of the world explain the raptured? Many theories may emerge, like extraterrestrials have taken them because they were troublemakers, it was radiation or some experiment gone awry. If you think it is God, no, it is too late for you as you are left behind. The last statement is also false, as God would still seek those who are on earth to repent and accept Yeshua as their Lord and Savior. Side note 4, there are 5 raptures that take place during the end times. First rapture takes place at the 6th seal, when the heaven departs like a scroll. Second rapture happens 3.5 into the 7-year tribulation period, as the 2 witnesses who were dead for 3.5 days are resurrected and ascend into heaven. Third rapture happens when Yeshua stands on Mount Zion to personally escort the 144,000 Israelites from the earth. They are redeemed from the earth, similar to other believers, and moments later are in singing in heaven. These are they who follow the Lamb wherever he goes, and we know that Yeshua doesn't stay on earth, as 3.5 years later comes from heaven riding a white horse. Therefore, they too are in heaven and not on earth during the bowls of God's wrath. Fourth rapture happens to those who surrendered their lives to Yeshua during the first 3.5 years of the world's tribulation period, who did not take the mark of the beast. This happens before the bowls of God's wrath are poured out, as moments later, these believers are in heaven praising God. Fifth rapture potentially happens at the end of the 7-year tribulation period for those who surrendered to Yeshua during the last 3.5 years, who did not take the mark of the beast and were beheaded because of refusing to take the mark of the beast. I believe these would also join Yeshua at the marriage supper of the Lamb before all believers come to earth for the millennial reign. Every mountain and island were moved out of their places. This great earthquake will cause every mountain and island to be moved out of their place. It is as if all the major global fault lines are triggered, shifting the face of the earth as we know it today. The impact could be so severe that it may cause the entire earth to get closer together like it was in the beginning before the earth split apart. Yeshua spoke of the faith of God being able to move a mountain into the sea. Revelation 6:15, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains.
All those on earth, kings, rulers of dominions, kingdoms, who own the land or have the authority to charge taxes. The kings of the earth are kings of land. These are different from the 10 kings who rule over the world, people, who hate Babylon and destroy her. Great men, governors of regions, who report to the king. Rich men, those who have wealth, abundance of possessions. chief captains, the commanders of thousands, specifically related to the military, mighty men, physically strong people, and those who are influential like members of a Sanhedrin. Every bondman. This Greek word for bondman is a slave to be in bondage to another, either being purchased or indebted to. Every freeman. In contrast to a slave, a freeman is one who is free from bondage. Hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. Greek word for dens means large spaces in hills or mountains such as caves. Ultimately this is a fulfillment of prophecy of when the glory of Yahweh is revealed. They will fear and hide themselves in these caves. Caves were often a place of safety in times of danger.
Revelation 6:16, and said to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb.
Said to the mountains and rocks. Their response continues to show their rebellion to God. Instead of repenting, they hide themselves because their deeds are evil. Their response is a fulfillment of the prophecy. Fall on us, and hide us from the. They can obviously see the one on the throne and the Lamb in the clouds. Face of him that sitteth on the throne. God the Father sits on the throne. They can't necessarily see him, but they know that no person has seen the face of God the Father and lived, therefore they need to hide because they don't want to die and be judged. From the wrath of the Lamb they know that they have rejected Yeshua and he is about to execute judgment on them. They see Yeshua in the clouds and remember what they had heard about this event.
Revelation 6:17, For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand?
For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Those on earth will acknowledge the great day of his wrath and will respond accordingly in fear. Who will be able to stand? They would have witnessed the great earthquake, the dark sun, blood moon, stars falling, and believers in Yeshua ascending into the clouds to meet Yeshua. Therefore the salt, believers in Yeshua, are removed from the earth and now it is ready to be trampled. Side note, many Israelites will see Yeshua whom they have rejected and mourn bitterly for their need of him.
Side note 2, signs leading up to the 7-year world tribulation period. 1. False Christs/Messiahs will point the way to life other than Yeshua being the only way, for example Muhammad, Joseph Smith. 2. Wars and rumors of war. 3. Famine, pestilences, earthquakes, various places will increase. 4. Global persecution of Yeshua's followers, while the gospel is preached to all nations. And friends, family and parents will betray each other. 5. False prophets deceive many, for example media. 6. Disregard of God's law, for example calling evil good and good evil. 7. Signs in the sun, moon and stars and the waves and sea roaring, therefore the hearts of many will fail for fear of these things which come on the earth. 8. 10 kings will start to be formed before the last empire starts. 9. Temple will start and be functioning as the sacrifices will continue until the beast enters the temple after 3.5 years. It will be built on Mount Mori, where the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem is today. It might be the Ezekiel temple as it will be operational during the millennium.